Rules are rules.
They are keeping him as a prisoner.
Novak Djokovic rarely spends 5 hours on court, and when he does, he usually ends up winning. Today was no different, except it wasn't the court that Djokovic is used to, and there was no standing ovation to celebrate it. Earlier today, an Australian judge ruled in Djokovic's favour. The decision to deport him was overturned. So where is Novak Djokovic right now? He went to the tennis court apparently. Plus, he's got his phone back. He tweeted a message a short while back. This is what he said, and I'm quoting. "I'm pleased and grateful that the judge overturned my visa cancellation. Despite all that has happened, I want to stay and try to compete at the Australian Open." But will the organisers let him? Well, not so fast. Australia's immigration minister can still cancel Djokovic's visa. If that happens, he will be on the next flight to Serbia. But there is a time frame. The Australian Open has set a deadline for Djokovic. January 11th. By then, there must be clarity on his status. Will he play or not? This entire controversy is a series of mistakes. First by Djokovic, who refuses to take a life-saving vaccine, and then by the Australian government. Exemptions, no exemptions. Their messaging has been all over the place. In the end, the court had to step in and decide. But why did the court side with Djokovic? Because his lawyers claim they had proof of vaccine exemption. What was this highly secretive exemption for? For contracting COVID-19. Novak Djokovic now says that he tested positive on the 16th of December 2021, last month. He tested positive, he says. Now we know that recovered patients cannot immediately take the jab. So this is Djokovic's excuse. We have 3 problems with this defense. Number 1, why hide your infection? This is not the first time that he's been infected. He was infected in June 2020 as well. And back then he issued a statement confirming it. So why not this time? Problem number 2, if Djokovic tested positive on December 16th, why was he not isolating? Now this is a tweet from December 17th, one day after he was allegedly infected. He was at a public event in Serbia. No mask, no social distancing, as you can see. In fact, he's shaking hands with people. Here's another picture from the same day. This time, Djokovic is with young tennis players. Again, no mask, no social distancing. I don't know which pandemic playbook Djokovic is using, but in most countries, this is a criminal offense. To hide your infection, to go out and meet people knowing that you're infected, it is a crime. But there is one key difference here. Rules, it seems, apply to normal citizens. This is world number 1, Novak Djokovic. Problem number 3, why did he wait until December to try and get vaccinated? Serbia's vaccine drive started in December 2020. Djokovic was allegedly infected 1 year later, so he had more than 300 days to get vaccinated, but he did not. This is not a medical exemption. This is vaccine hesitancy. What do the people of Australia make of this verdict? This big circus around one tennis player, what do they make of it?
I think it's ridiculous that no one will protest for anyone else except for a tennis player who is here in the country. And it's just, I think it's ridiculous. No one cares this much about anything else except for a tennis player. It's so dumb.
The courts in Australia don't seem bothered about these problems. They have sided with the player. Not surprising, considering how this entire episode has played out. The Australian government has plenty to answer for. Why was Djokovic given a visa in the first place? If he said he had a medical exemption, why did no one cross-check it? Why wait until he lands in Australia to check it? Why create all of this chaos? This, you see, is a story of mismanagement and entitlement. Novak Djokovic believes that he is above the rules. He wasn't the only one who landed in Australia without a vaccine, but the others were booted out. Djokovic used his power to lawyer up, and suddenly fans are raising hell on social media. The Serbian government is getting involved. All of this outrage for what? Because their golden boy was not put up in a 5-star hotel. In case there is confusion, Djokovic is not a refugee. He went to Australia by choice. He invited this controversy and chaos, so complaining now is pointless.
We have come to, in some way, celebrate the victory of our son, our Novak, a young man who has learned in his family not to tolerate lies, not to tolerate fraud. He's always fought for justice. He is not guilty of anything. He did nothing that is against their laws, and yet he suffered such torture.
There is no justification for what Novak Djokovic did. He could have scripted history in Melbourne. 3 men's players are currently on 20 Grand Slam titles: Djokovic, Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer. Federer is not playing this year, and hard courts are not Nadal's forte. So this was Djokovic's chance to script history, to skip ahead of Nadal and Federer to become the first men's player to win 21 titles. Instead, he does this. Refuses to take what billions of people already have, a vaccine that has probably saved millions of lives. This is not what true champions do. I know the fans will keep rooting for Djokovic. I know they expect him to channel this frustration. They expect him to win the Australian Open, and who knows, maybe he will. But this Grand Slam will forever be tainted in the history books. It won't be remembered for the tennis. It will be remembered for the chaos. A player who put his false beliefs over the lives of fellow competitors and fans. A government that put its people under strict lockdown but failed to keep a vaccine skeptic from playing. Let me take you back to November 2021. Australia had just opened its borders after more than a year of restrictions. Families had not seen each other for more than 500 days. You may remember these emotional scenes from the Sydney airport.
Oh my God, paparazzi, paparazzi!
And we wonder why Australians are unhappy. They suffered under one of the strictest lockdowns in the world. They were separated from their families. 500 days, they were stranded abroad. And now this entitled tennis player waltzes in. No vaccine, no concern. But the courts let him stay. This isn't a Grand Slam anymore. It's a joke. With a D, if I may add. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.